Alright, I'd just like to show this. This is going to be a little video from a fellow named Greg Lloyd about Australia and about these particular pillars. And these are suspected to be the remnants of a seafloor, but that is not what they are, I don't believe. These are tendon enthesis points, and if you can see these down here, those are literally plagioclases. I can almost guarantee it. Those are the tendon balls that invest into flesh, and as the tendon comes up, you have a white stalky stuff, and then it transitions into the red muscle that comes away, and they create stuff just like this. I have a similar situation, and what it is this is where that fleshy stuff is. Let's see if I can get this away from me. This is that fleshy looking stuff, and then that is the white fascia, and the muscle up here, you see the, I don't know if you can see the similarity, but there is, and that's what is going on there. And these were just gigantic creatures, and that's how they invest in here with the tendon balls. This would have come down with this white stalk, you know, it still had meat in it, and like this is, until it hit the fleshy layer, and then you would have these tendon balls all the way around it, embedded in the flesh, and the flesh would be up to here. And these are spiky looking things, and I'll show you that in a second. Anyway, I'm going to let him introduce himself. They did a very nice job on that, and I appreciate it if they let me show this, and I hope they will.
I'm Graham Lloyd, Environment Editor with The Australian. I'm travelling with photographer Vanessa Hunter by plane, by boat, by helicopter and four-wheel drive to find Australia's most spectacular landscapes. Welcome to Wild Australia.
Now, I probably showed this somewhere else in this video already, but I'm just going to show it again. This is the kind of preservation you get when you're primarily getting invaded with OH minus and H2O. Those are very, very, very tiny molecules, and they come into these mud fossils after they become plated with silicon dioxide. The fascia protects the mud fossil inside just like it would when it was in your body, because it doesn't know you're dead. That's what it's supposed to do, is protect you from water and chlorine and acids and everything else. Anyway, that's how it works, and the preservation is phenomenal. And then there's a lot of pH that goes on with this, because I got stuff that doesn't have any preservation at all. It's completely devoid of anything, like something like this right here, which has, it's completely, every bit of the organics is gone, and it's actually starting to create crystals in the vugs. There's some here and there. I don't know where they are right now, but I have here's one right here somewhere. You see, they do that. That's what happens. The seeds of the metals that's left over after that was a lung, and after the metals, the blood rush gets out of here. There'll be some little bits of metals left in there, and they will start to form crystals as percolates come down through it. But this has something to do with acid. Now, I'm just going to throw this in. I don't know how interested you really are, but the polymorphism talks about how different crystals can take on different shapes and things, but the most important thing to understand is solvomorphism. Really, what happens is you got these base chemicals that are down here, and it depends on what percolates down. So solvomorphism, as different solvates have different chemical formula. So the solvates are the things that are coming down from above. Are they pH, you know, what's the pH, what's in them, what kind of minerals, but what happens is in the opals, you get blood. It's got every kind of metal and every kind of mineral you can think of. Blood is extremely ionic and has all kinds of chemical activity going on. So that's why you get those opals being so spectacular looking. Now, and then he's showing an example of an organic polymorph is glycine, which is able to form monoclinic and hexagonal crystals. Silica is known to form and so forth. And then you got quartz and crystalline and all these different things. Calcite, aragonite, calcium carbonate. Those are all the things of life. All the things of life. And they they bond with all kinds of other crazy things. And I mean crazy. I can show you one here that is crazy. And I have to show it to you in a microscope. All right, they're flying over this particular national park, and they're saying that this was an ancient ocean bed and it's weathered in this pattern, and I'm saying that is not right. These here, all of this stuff, that is the patterns of life. Those are the patterns that you would see in tendons, and I will show you closer examination of that in a second. Okay, now they're going to call this sandstone, but that's because they don't understand that sandstone is degraded flesh.
And they're 1.4 billion years old.
1.4
so this rock
billion
is some
years
of the
old.
oldest rock in the world, not just Australia. Twice the age of Ayers Rock, for example,
You
twice
see
the
this?
age of the Bungles. So just over a very, very
It's
long
tendinous
period of time,
material along
they have
with
purely
flesh.
weathered into these
I'll
shapes,
show you.
purely from rain. A little bit of wind
And it
erosion,
all
but
has
mainly
those-
rain. As you flew in, you would have noticed
Those
how all
layering
the
in it.
tops of
That's
these rocks
exactly
were
what
once
life
level.
does.
So they've
see
slowly
it?
just eroded into these
Hold on one
spectacular shapes.
Inside.
All right, they are spectacular. Look at these layers here, and look at the difference in the white and in the red. You see these laminations? They didn't just form like that by themselves. This is absolutely no way that could possibly happen. Now, I have stuff that is formed exactly like that, only it's from life. And there's a lot of it that I can show you more, but I'm going to show you this right now. This is the same stuff as that. This is identically the same stuff, only this one here was fossilized and never eroded. Now, that's the tendinous material. What would happen was, I believe it would be this coming down this way turn into the whiter material, which you'll see at the bases they'll have more and more and more white, because that's where the tendon makes its investment into bones and things. Going this way, they're going to have the fleshy stuff, and there it is. I mean, I don't know, it looks like the same sort of stuff to me. I don't know about you, but it has that same flecky looking stuff inside the flesh. And that is exactly what you expect. And the architecture of all these little ridges and things, whoops, let me take this light off. All these little striations are exactly what is in living tissue. And I will show you that. And it is exactly what's seen everywhere on Earth, not just here. This just happens to be quite obvious of what's going on. But if you think about the proportions that we're talking about here, this is like each one of these is like a muscle fiber. So, you know, when they did say that there was giants in the earth, they weren't kidding. By the way, if you drilled into one of these things about a foot or two, or even 3 feet, you would have DNA. You'd be able to get DNA extracted out of there, because what happens is this red blood, and that's what it is. It's blood that has been sequestered as metal. And the metal, what sequestration does is it wraps it in like a cocoon, just like it puts it in a cyst. These little things they call, it doesn't matter what, they're ligands. They attach and they go around the metal and encase it so that it cannot be touched by anything else to destroy it. And what happens is the hemoglobin and all that stuff gets in there too. And then when you hit it with acid, it liberates it. And I have stuff that is liberated. It's literally blood. And it's from old rocks like this. And it's going to have the same thing. If you get in deep inside it, I guarantee you're going to find DNA. And then the scientists, all the theory that the Earth is just rocks. They go, oh, you can find human DNA everywhere. And that is correct, because it is everywhere. And there was a guy at RPI, Rensselaer. He, Jim something or other, he got Alzheimer's and he stopped doing this work, but he found that there was RNA, and I don't know about the DNA, but I know there was RNA in mud. It's just mud, it's loaded with it. And that's what they say God made man out of. He just took a chunk of dirt and made a person out of it. I'm just saying what they said. I have no interest in promoting anybody's ideology, but I'm just saying what was said and what I'm seeing, and, you know, bizarre as it is what it is. All right, now the first thing I want you to notice is the, it's completely red, and that's the iron oxides, and that is what captures the blood, and there's also metals within this blood. It's not just iron oxide, it's not just iron. Alright, this is from biologists.org. No, dev.biologist.org. Very nice, very concise. Now, when tendons start to develop, these tendons are the things that anchor your muscles into your body. That's the ability for you to move and everything. There's two different ways your skeletal muscles work. They have the muscles that contract and so forth, and they're red and they're gooey, and they have fleshy stuff, and they're little barrel-shaped things, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then you have the tendon, and the tendon gets very mineralized and hard and embeds itself in these little balls into the bone. So the bone is here. You start to grow. Your muscle comes off this way. You start getting a little fully more developed, and they start to put minerals in here, really spiky little minerals. And you see this, those are spiky little things too, and they're like transitional things. And this starts to move up into here, these green things. Then you get more and more and more minerals, and then it starts to spike in, and then you get this. And now at the end, what you end up with is a ton of spikes in the center, and they're very, very spiky, and I'll show you something in a second. And then going through the strap that goes up to where the meat starts, it sort of intertwines, it weaves. You get red and you get white, and then all of a sudden it turns all mostly reddish and flakes of white here and there, just like in meat. Everybody knows what meat looks like, and that's what you see. And this is exactly what you see in the things I just showed you, or I will be showing you. All right, here it is, exactly what you expect. Exactly. This is the tendinous ball at the bottom. There's going to be a lot of plagioclases and things around here. That's the kind of stuff that is fracturing off now and eroding away. And then you turn into the tendon assembly starts to come out of that, just like you saw in the anatomical thing. Then you turn into the bundles of muscle, and they turn red, and that's just what it is. And the thing, I don't know how big it was, but I don't know why they ended up being in this condition. Now over here, I think that's another tendon anthesis point, one of those spiky little balls. I can't prove it, I'm not there, but it sure looks like that same sort of stuff to me. Alright, I have a video up there right now about the Giant's Causeway, and these are the patterns of the earth that we find over there too. There's no difference, exactly the same. And these are the patterns of life. These are muscle patterns and tendon patterns. So smooth muscle, striated muscle, heart muscle, it's all there, every bit of it. Now, I'm just going to play this, listen. Find the structures inside the earth. They are identical to the patterns of human muscle or muscle. Now here's the other patterns. This is the patterns of tendons. Those are patterns of tendons. It's exactly the pattern of tendons. There is no difference. Identical. And then there's also, they have the other ones that are that are all this stuff. This is the vascularization of the human body. It's identical. There is nothing here that isn't correct here. Nothing. And all of this is found in these giants. Now this is from innerbody.com. You can go in and study up all on the human body and all organic structures, but this is totally identical. Not even, I mean, it's identical to the structures that are in all of these giant creatures that we're finding around the world. And Giant's Causeway has these in gigantic quantities. You look at it closely, I mean, you can't miss it. There's nothing to miss here. And this is all chemically testable because we can find the areas where there's blood supplies. Because the blood has to supply every single organ and every single cell in your entire body. So there's no question that we can find the areas that are supplying these bloods. They are there, they're going to be there, there's absolutely no question. Now, I just want to point out one thing. Where the muscle is, these are the kind of muscles we're talking about. Whoops. And then when they invest themselves, this is where the tendinous material takes over. And that is very mineralized. It's got a lot of minerals in there. There's metals, there's a lot of calcium, there's a lot of the silicon and things like that. And when they cut them with the scalpel, the anatomist that did all this stuff, and he verified, well, all these things I'm saying are true. In his opinion, these things were exactly what I'm saying they were. And when he cuts through tendons, it dulls the scalpels. And then when he was, I watched him do a lot of autopsies, and when he pulled away this muscle tissue and had these fibers coming out of there, which are these very fine fibers. He played them like a guitar, and bring, bring. It was really, they're metal. They're just metals, or mineralized, let me put it that way. Anyway, and that is why there's a transition area in here of like 3, 4, or maybe 5 even different chemical stages as they transition, and it breaks in the same stage every time. And it's right as the muscle turns into the fibers. Alright, I believe this is a mud fossil lung, I believe, and I believe that was the entryway, and I cut it through the side. Now, I don't know what kind of a creature it is. They come in all different shapes, but you can see the vascular stuff, and it's just all over inside there. And this has fossilized. From mud fossilization, you primarily get clear sort of fossils and very, very good fossilization, sometimes the complete colors and everything, but I believe that's what this is. Now, these up here are opals, and they're what they call Yoa nut opals, and this is the same vascularization that you just saw in the clear one, but these are fossilized in blood, and the blood is in Australia, and the blood is running down because Australia is literally covered in blood. Some gigantic creature is there, and I can show you the remnants of it. I can't explain it. Well, I can explain it by what it says in ancient texts about giants being the earth, literally in the earth. Anyway, all the different metals, primarily in blood, will create these fabulous colors. And the ionic nature of all of these different vascularizations and everything, they're totally different from each other. They separate each other. That's what they're supposed to do. So when these chemicals come down in here, they don't just go through everybody the same. They try to find the guys that they're supposed to work with, and that's why they have these colors.